Hello, students. So this is the lesson. This is to refresh your memory about the unit 2, which is transformation. You can see that. So you have that packet. You must have that formula sheet with you, which you will be memorizing. And remember that you will not be given that, allowed to see that during your test. So please remember all those rules that I have given. Mainly questions will be on these rules. So go over this, what these things we have already described. So I don't want to waste much time. But well, about reflections, one thing I'm telling you that we are not giving you any, these triangles and all other thing, big things, and transform those all these points, and then we'll be giving you only one point. Let's say, so all that you need to know that how this formula works. Okay, so let's say I have a point. Let's say I say A is -2 and 4. Okay, so we are telling you that transform this line, transform this point through x-axis. So you have two ways to do. Straight away go for the formula. Your x is -2 and y is 4. So what happens? X remains as it is. So this is going to be 4, and x is and y is taking a negative. So your y is already positive 4. So with 4, if a negative added, multiplied by negative, it becomes a, sorry, I'm giving something wrong. Your x remains as it is. So x becomes -2 and x becomes -2, and your 4 is 4, so it takes a negative. So it takes -4. So if a point is given, you'll have to find out what happens once with reflected with x-axis. And then let's say reflection. So through y-axis, say I give you a point like 3 and -4. Let's say that's a point P. So once reflected through y-axis, what happens? You look at it, okay? So your x takes a negative. So your x is 3. That becomes -3. And your y is -4. And that becomes y as it is. So it's -4. So the image of D, which is D prime, let's say here it became -2, -4, and here it becomes -3 and -4. Okay, so this way you'll have to work. And let's say y equals to x. I give you a point, let's say r. R is, let's say, -2 and 7. So what happens? You see, they flip. Y becomes here and x becomes its y coordinate. So they flip. So you just flip it. Okay? So 7 is here and this -2. This goes here, this goes here. All right? And if it is across the y equals to -x, so when y equals to -x, what happens? Let me just write it in case if anybody get confused. This is a reflection through x-axis. This is through y-axis. And this is through y equals x line. Okay? And then y equals -x line. So if it is y equals -x line, so let's say I give you a point S. So I say that is, let's say, 3 and 9. So once it's reflected, what happens according to the rule? -x, -y. X, y remains same, they take a negative. Oh no, sorry, this one. xy shifts, okay, and they change their sign. So they flip. So first flip them. 9 becomes here, 3 becomes here, and they change their sign. So remember that if it would be a negative, it would change its sign to positive, and if it is positive, change its sign to negative. So this is all about this reflection. And somebody doesn't want to remember that, then what you guys can do is, like, let's say this point, what we say, -2 and 4. Draw your graph, 1, 2, -2 and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you are reflecting through x-axis, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You see, they become in the same distance, okay? So this is your reflection point. So get the coordinate, x is -2, y is -4. You see, this exactly matches. So this way xy, reflection through x-axis, reflection, okay? So if you know that, that will be fine. I'm not going to give you any graphing or anything like that. And translation is much easier. Again, that will be also about a figure, okay? So, it's simple. Let's say if xy is there, you add the translation. H and k is the translating factor. They slide, okay? So, H represents the horizontal shift this way, and Y, your Y, sorry, there's not Y, that is K. K represents this vertical shift, okay? Vertical shift, so this way or this way, and X is this way or that, okay? So what will happen? Say I tell you that a point is, let's say, I tell you a point T is -3 and 4, and that is translated by, under the translation, let's say I say, okay, the translation takes place as x plus 4 and y minus 7. So what's your responsibility? Your responsibility to plug in the value over here, okay? Because slice through 4, okay, towards right 4. So what you do is -3 plus 4, what do you get? 1. So the new point becomes 1, x coordinate, and for the y coordinate, it becomes, so instead of y, you plug in 4, and there is a -7. So once you do it, you get a -3. So you say -3. That's it. So that's about translation. And then once we move into rotation, remember, you will have to know this, okay? And counterclockwise is a positive. Let's say positive 90 means counterclockwise. Negative 90 means clockwise, okay? So let's say, again, this also about a point, okay? Let's say I tell you there is a point that is, let's say C, that's -2 and 6, okay? So I tell you to make a clockwise rotation of 90 degree, okay? So I say clockwise 90 degree, rotate that, okay? So what will happen? Clockwise 90 degree, you see, clockwise 90 degree in your formula sheet, that's given as a negative. So xy, y comes to the position of x, they flip, and x takes a negative. So what do? Take this one as this x position, and x goes here, so it shifts, flips, and since it's a negative makes it a positive, okay? Remember, those who have confidence, basically is negative x, okay? So this is a negative for the rule, and your x is -2, so x is -2, so it becomes a positive 2. All right. Okay. So and now it's always good to work with some other. Let me work on. Okay, if I tell you that there is a point B, so this is our C prime. Okay, there is a point B, which is let's say 3 and 6. Okay, and I tell you that that's a 180 degree. So 180 degree doesn't have any clockwise or counterclockwise. Okay, so go back to the rule. I'll suggest you for these things to do with rule because you won't be having graph paper and all other things, so you can do that. So if it is 180 degree, so what happens? X, Y, they become negative X, negative Y. X remains as it is, Y remains as it is because they just shift this way. So what will happen? X and Y will remain as it is, and so X, it takes a negative, and 6 it takes a negative. So that's what your 180 degree rotation. All right. And then what is left? 270 degree. It's always good to know, but let me show you. Let's say P is a point -2 and 7. Okay, so I say this as a clockwise, counterclockwise, which is a positive, okay, a negative, counterclockwise, counterclockwise positive, so that's a positive 90 degree rotation. Okay, so what will happen? P prime, so counterclockwise 90 degree. If you look at this, counterclockwise 9 XY, they change their position. Okay, Y become negative X. Okay, so Y takes the position of X, so they flip, and Y takes a negative sign, so it will flip, and this is going to be -7, and then your X remains as it is, so it's -2. So it's -2. These are most of multiple choice questions you will have. It will just take 10 seconds. Okay, remember, you will have 30 multiple choice questions. You'll have to save your time. You'll have to be faster. So this is all about rotation. You'll have to know the rule. Okay, I'm not going for these pictures. All right, you don't have to draw anything. Okay, symmetry, just have a look at the symmetry. I don't want to discuss much because there will be nothing that difficult from symmetry. Dilation. So dilation, that scale factor. Okay, so we have worked a lot. If a point is given to you, you just multiply by the scale factor. Let's say if I tell you that there is a point A, 3, 4, and I tell you that is dilated by a scale factor, let's say 2, scale factor 2. So what will happen? That's multiplying. If it is X, if it is Y, then after the dilation, they become Kx and Ky. And your K is this 2. This is K. So what will happen after the dilation? Dilation, it will be A prime will be multiplied by 2, is 6, and is 8. Okay, so these are just for refreshing your memory. So please watch that and know them. All right, and then we should be having rotation, dilation, then we worked with translation, we worked with reflection. We are done. So I would like to, there will be few questions, multiple choice questions or some student response questions, something like this. Okay, So let's say what it tells you. Be careful about these questions. Okay. Um I'm keeping this in the screen so that you guys can take a screenshot of that and keep it with you. Okay. Uh, so this is two problem, and then this is another problem. Okay. So you can guys can just lately walk if you want, or if this is a video, so you can pause and watch them again and again. So I'm deleting this size and let me see what it tells. First one, this is student response question. It tells in the diagram triangle ABC. So that's triangle A, B, and C. And triangle XYZ are graphed. All right. You can go back to the formula and see that what is happening. Okay. So you can see this point is here. Okay. And it tells you use the properties of rigid motion. Now we need to understand one thing: what is rigid motion? All this I told you in the class that all these transformations are rigid motion, except for dilation. Rigid motion means after the transformation, if it holds its own size and shape. So this one, after coming over here, it takes the same shape. So now we'll have to just use the property rigid point to explain why ABC is congruent to XYZ. If it is a rigid motion, the figures will always be congruent. Now, what type of transformation it took place? So you see this is coming towards this, and obviously this G is with this 90 degree, and this A, this towards this. Okay. So I can, this is not a translation, because if it comes over here and it cannot move this way, it will remain, A will remain here. And this is not a reflection to any line. So this is not a dilation, it has to be a rotation. If you see this OA is through this center, it was straightway rotated this way. 180 degree rotation. Okay, you don't have to tell that. If you tell that, that's also fine. So in answer you can say the transformation is a rotation which is a rigid motion. Okay, rotation is always, except for dilation, all the transformation rigid motion, which is a rigid motion. These are the concept we have learned everything, but these are the presentations that you'll have to face your real questions in your Regent exam. So I want you to practice with that. That's it. And once you come to number 404, it tells in the diagram below which single transformation. So it's a single transformation. Use the map triangle A onto triangle B. So you see A is here and it has mapped to this. So we are sure that there was some kind of rotation took place because line of reflection, if it reflects through any line, this figure is never matching with this, so it's gone. Rotation seems like that. If it rotates through this way, okay, then probably it has come have something. So you see from this to this line, this is the diagonal of this rectangle, same size rectangle. So obviously it was rotated through this. Okay, let me make it clear. You will see this guy has come to this, okay, with the 90 degree counterclockwise rotation. So since multiple choice, you can say yes, it's rotation. It's not a dilation because size has not changed, and it's not a translation because if you translate, you'll be coming to this and this or that, but you can never erect this one. Okay, so obviously it's 2. Make sense? Okay. And then This is also a description of a, and this is a composite rotation. Okay, on the set of axes below pentagon ABCD, so these are pre-image. Okay, and congruent to A double prime, B double prime, C double prime, because there was another transformation, then it came to this. Okay, so we'll have to say what it is. So since we said there is a double prime, we are sure there's a composition, right? So we see, let's try and make sense. A rotation of 90 degree counterclockwise about the origin followed by the reflection over x-axis. So if it is a rotation 90 degree clockwise, what will happen? This guy will be coming to this. So A will be here. So accordingly, if A comes to this, B will be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 over here. Okay. Then for you about the x-axis, okay, if it reflects, this figure will be looking like this. Okay, then it will reflect over here. Okay, so I don't think that is going to be reflection, because A, that time if it reflects through this, what will happen? A should be coming over here. It's a very critical question. Look here, guys. It looks like once you rotate with the first one, then you think, oh, 1, 2, 1, 2. But the question is, this is your A prime, this is your B prime, this is your C prime, and this is your D prime, and this is your E prime. All right. So once you reflect 1, 2, fine, but it's E prime, it's not that. So obviously it's not the choice. Now you come, a rotation 90 degree counterclockwise about the origin, followed by a translation down 7 unit. Okay. So now if you come over here, let's say, look at this. Let's say 90 degree rotation is done. The first part is done. And then origin followed by a translation down 7 units, so towards down. So look, A 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That means all of the point will follow. So it's true. All right. So that's it. So what I want you to do is, today I have posted this your yesterday's homework solution, which is on Unit 1, your sample questions. You will be getting questions just like that. Okay, so I have prepared one for this one also. So what I would like to do is, I don't think after watching that video you will have enough time to work in the class. If you can, then from your packet you just can work with few of the problems. Okay, let me assign 1 or 2. Okay, another concept I want to give you is just about dilation. If any dilation takes place, what happens? There will be one question related to that. Let's see. Let me show you here. Remember, once dilation takes place, it changes its shapes. Let's say this one, a dilation takes place with this. It changes from this, since value is less than 1, so it reduced. But every angle remains same. All right? So remember that angle remains same, other sizes changes. All right? So if AB is dilated by unit 2, okay, let's say by scale factor 3, so A prime B will be A a prime b will be 3 times of ab, all right? Or your um, ab will be 1/3 of this. If you shift it here, a prime b prime, okay? So just keep this concept with you, it will be fine. So I'll be posting one on this your sample questions, 10 questions, so that you can work at home, okay? I want you to give it a try by yourself since this is an exam, so you can learn things properly. And then I post the video day after tomorrow in the class. Say tomorrow you will be getting the solution video for the sample question of unit 1, and day after tomorrow you are going to get one for this one, okay? So this will be continuing, so don't worry. Please do study and revise, okay? Go through your papers and homework, don't take that stress, and be sure your midterm is going to be much easier comparing to the test and quizzes that I have told. So the harder the training is, the easier the war is. So you'll be going on that way, okay? So I hope this helps. Thank you very much. Have a good day.